For checking our channel, this is going to be a repair video on an old style Gallagher M100. This was a 1 to 1.5 stored joule, so probably half plus or minus output. So not a very powerful unit by any means, but for what it was designed to do, it would do a good job. This is old school unit. This one's from 2002. I think a variation of this model came out in the 90s, of course. And it was around to about 2005, 6. I don't know. Probably around about 2004, 5. Because the M150, which is a discontinued model as well, it's basically 2 generations ago when it comes to 2024 Gallagher stuff. This is 2 generations ago. This is old style unit. But we're gonna go through it, see if we can get it going. They've had a. I think these were always in a black colored case. Some of their older ones that were shaped like this that were AC powered were in orange colored case, like the M80s, and then the M400s, early ones they were in a tan brown colored case. The battery units were like the B150s and B160s were in an orange colored case, and then they went to a black case like this one. Then they had older battery one called a B260/B250, and that was in a purple colored case. And then towards the end of its run in the early 2000s and such, in the late 90s, they went to a black colored case. Now everything Gallagher for the last 20 some years is all black colored case, and their color scheme for them is black and orange. That's their orange DNA, they call it. Kind of snaps doing it, nothing broke. Alright, well, ants got inside the thing, and see that much. What is about ants? And I love to get across SCRs and stuff like that. Look, that's all this caked across that thing. So, I don't know if we'll be able to fix this one or not. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna take this board out. The capacitor is built onto the board like this one is. What size is this one? It is an 8 microfarad. I don't have this oval shaped one, but I've got 8s in stock that should fit right there, and I'll solder some wires on it and such. Shouldn't be a big deal. Transformer is original. I don't see a sticker on there, but this transformer style, it's a 40-year-old design, basically from the mid-late 80s, and they don't go bad that often. It's pretty much bulletproof for the most part. It's rare. Even when lightning would hit the unit on the fence or ground, it would usually take out the board or damage the board. And the transformer, I have a little soot stuff, residue from the board being hit. You just wipe it all off, clean the tabs up on the transformer, and it's ready to go back to work. So transformers on these things are pretty tough. So the first thing I want to do is test this capacitor. So I go across here to here. Yeah, it's junk. Okay, bad capacitor. So what I'm going to do, snip off the zip tie first. Gallagher used to sell this capacitor back a handful of years ago, but then they didn't go bad that often, and they stopped offering it. So I guess they just well, we don't sell these capacitors; they don't go bad all that often. What's the point of stocking the dumb thing? It's never going to sell one, so I think they got rid of them. Alright, so we may have to change out that SCR as well, but let's not worry about that right now. Let me go grab another capacitor and I'll be right back. Alright, there's an 8 microfarad capacitor of equal sizing and specs. So this one is designed to be plugged onto a board with these little leads, but since we can't do that because there's not enough room, we are going to strap it back to the back side of the board like the factory one was. and solder some wires to it, and then we'll solder those wires to that board right there. Now if this, yeah, see, it's too wide to be plugged on there anyways. Plus, if we put it on like that, I can really close the case up to be too tall. So we're going to have to put it back here like the factory one was. So let's lay it back there. Alright, so first we need to get solder on. It's still warmed up, so I have to reset that. We're going to tin the wires on the leads on the capacitor, and I coat them in some solder. And then we'll grab some solid core wire. Don't need anything heavy gauge. This is 22 gauge or something like that. 20 gauge, 22 gauge wire, and then we're going to coat that with some solder, and then we're going to solder these two up together. Okay, and we'll cut it kind of long. I think that should be long enough. Coat this one next. Come on. Set them side by side to each other. Heat them both up. Right there. It's got these little zip ties. You see, these might work. Kind of small, but the one on there wasn't that big either. Okay. Let's run it through. May need to put two of them on there. I don't know if this. Oh, the zip tie backwards. Okay. I guess I should have make sure the capacitor's going to sit still. Yep, sit right there. The board would be just fine. Now that SCR still might be bad, but it's covered in those ants, but we'll leave it alone for now. Come on. Okay. Now we'll coat this wire. Coat that wire. I'm going to kind of reflow solder on here just to kind of get it ready in case it needs to rejuvenate itself. Okay, let's heat it up. Come on. This capacitor still kind of moves a little bit. Oh, not no more. That's all right. It's locked in there now. Okay, let's plug it in and see what happens. What should happen is this light is a power light slash flashing clicking light. So it should come on. Okay, it's glowing green. That's a good sign. Look at that. There it goes. How old was this unit? 2002. 22 years old from 2024 date. Let me look at the sticker on the front there. Now, I can barely read it, but the first three digits is 020 something, which means it's a 2002, and that serial number on the front there is 020 whatever. So this is the original board from 22 years ago, and look, it's new capacitor, and away we go. So you wonder why Gallagher is expensive. This is why, because it lasts a long time. Minus lightning, stuff like that, Gallagher's will go a long time. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, there are exceptions to the rules, of course, but most of the Gallaghers we get in are 10 plus years old. Occasionally we'll get a 7-year-old unit or 8-year-old unit, and usually hit by lightning. Majority of the time. So they typically either run a long time or they don't. Alright, so we're going to do a voltage check on there. Peak voltage, I would think on this one would be right around 7. No, shit, no, this might be one of the ones that hits like 11,000. Let's see, what am I missing here? Let's see. $6,000. Let's 500 ohm load. Okay, something ain't right. I'm not getting. Let me grab my. I'm not getting any kind of joule reading. It's on the joule setting. Alright, so it's reading the same voltage as it was earlier. Okay. I thought the peak voltage on that was a lot higher. That capacitor's, I'm sure it got charge in it. I'm gonna get bit by it. A big capacitor, but any capacitor hurts. Get bit by the dumb thing. All right, let's. The transformer is bad. That would be really rare. I think these red transformers, I don't remember the ohms that should be, but because I don't go by that often. 15, is that right? I've got another one. He's sitting here. Let me go grab one. Okay, there's a new one, or another one. Came out of a unit that probably had a bad board. It was too far gone. Ooh. So we saved the transformer out of it. See what it reads. He's about the same, 15 roughly. So, I think we got more board problems. I wonder if one of these red capacitors is bad or weak or whatever, because the voltage is a bit lower than I think it should be. No diodes on there. I think these are diodes. These little black things, I think, are some of them are surface mount diodes. Let's come on. I think that's part of the issue. Okay, well, we may have to, for now, snip that and move it out of the way. I'm going to change out all 3 of those red capacitors, because if one of them is weak, then on the multiplier circuit, it's not going to increase the voltage high enough to when it goes to the main capacitor and it discharges into the transformer. So then, of course, the voltage coming in is low, so the output on the transformer is going to be low. So I think we got an issue with one or multiple of them, and they're cheap enough. I think I've got enough of them in stock that I can just change all 3 of them and be done with it. And so with this being, yeah, it's a cheaper priced unit, because a new model today would be the Gallagher M120, M160, something like that. And this is an old school unit. You can actually fix the boards on these. Those ones are basically built as throwaway. And the biggest of those little Gallaghers is $150 or $150 for the thing, and they don't make any parts for it. So, wait a minute, I don't think that's a capacitor right there. Oh, nope, there's no one there. Oh, that's the fuse holder right there. That's wrong. Hold on. That's a capacitor. This one. So this one, whatever this was up here, that's not a capacitor. Those are the wrong solder joints there. So we would have had to move that big capacitor anyways, the one we just put on there, because it was sitting on top, hiding these solder joints. The last one is down here. Okay, let's see if these pull out of there. Flat screwdriver, sometimes that works better. Okay, that one's going to come loose. That one's going to come loose. That one's going to come loose. Almost. Come on. Come on. Okay. Alright, give me just a minute. I gotta go find some more capacitors. Oh, I had 2 just like the factory ones, and I had 1. It's same type of capacitor, just in a different packaging. And I don't know if it's going to be too wide to put in there. We may have to, yeah, we have to fit it like right here. But we're going to have to drill a small hole in the board, which isn't a big deal. We might put it right there, up on that one. Yeah, we'll put it right there. These 2 are going to go in there with no problem. This one's a little bit wider, but let's get my drill. And I got a small drill bit I like to use for drilling holes in the board that are big, just big enough for the leads of the stuff to come through the board. So we're going to, oh, wait a minute. Okay, let's put it in the middle one. I think that's going to work best for us. Oops. Alright, so we'll put this one right here. There are no polarities to these capacitors because it's just with the type of capacitor that they are, there's no polarity to them. And before I strap this capacitor back into place, we're going to plug it in and test it, make sure it's working better. Alright, we're going to get, God, I hope this solves our issue. Solder this back on it because for what I think it's the fuse holder tabs. Okay, that lead I'm going to have to run a jumper just so, because I had to put it on the whatever you call it. Had to drill it if it's in the same track on the board as the other one is, that it needs to go to, but it's too far away that I'm going to solder a jumper over from the lead on the board to the solder joint it goes to. And I need to, hold on, so it's all the way through the board. And I'll coat this thing in some solder. Okay. Should be able to touch those two together, let it harden up. Alright, also I'm going to do a continuity check between this point and this point. Okay, that's reading. Okay, so I want to make sure I didn't break that trace when I drilled that hole. Okay, let's try this again. Okay. Let's put the analog meter on real quick. I'm pretty certain this thing is supposed to hit like 11,000, 10,000 volts. Oh yeah. There we go. I'm talking about. Alright, let's get that other meter out. Now we're going to, because I was like, you know, it's a little low. And when I put a load on it, it didn't show any joules in the whole 9 yards. I'm like, something fishy here with this thing. Let's, okay, we're going to do peak voltage. It should be like 10, 11,000 volts coming out of the thing. Look at that number on the left. About 9,000 volts. put a, do that again. Oh. Oops. Yeah, there we go. About 10,000 volts out of it. We'll do a 500 ohm load. It's a 1.3 joules. This one's actually probably going to be a little bit stronger just because it's got everything brand new in it on the main part of the board. Jeez. 1.2 joules. So like I said, not a very like potent unit at all, joule wise. 1.4. So you see the spark that little thing will throw? Watch that thing. Turn the light off here and I'll show you the spark it throws for a 1.5 joule unit. You don't always need 20 joules, 10, 15 joules to get the point across. It's psychological. Look at that thing, 1.5 joules and it freaking lights your ass on fire. I mean, yeah, it would handle the distance of a big fence. You know, you could probably fence off on a clean fence, probably 25, 30 acres with this thing with no problem on a clean fence. But you get some grass on there, of course, that you're going to drag down somewhat quick, depending on how much grass is on there. But I mean, it's a nice, healthy unit. This thing's ready to go back to work again. All right, well, thanks for checking out our video. This one took a little long. I thought it was going to take, but anyways, up and going again. 22-year-old unit gets to go back to work for another 22 years, hopefully. We'll see. Until next time, see you guys later on. Have a good rest of your day. Like, subscribe, and tell your friends.